Hey, and welcome to my channel. For those that are new to me, I'm Dr. Nicolya, and I'm super excited that you are here and joining us to learn today. So today I want to share my takeaways from The Lion King. Now, obviously, I've seen The Lion King when I was growing up. It was actually one of my favorite movies. But with it recently being re-released, I went and took my daughters to see it, who had also saw the former version. But a few years ago, they saw it, so they didn't remember it as much. So the first lesson is while we were in the theater and we get to the part where Mufasa is hanging and Simba is at the bottom and Scar lets him go, my oldest daughter closes her eyes and she starts screaming in the middle of the theater. She's saying, "Why did you make me see this? Why did you make me come here? This is so sad. I would be devastated if this happened." And she's whining. So I had to get her to regroup while we're in the theater. And I promised her that the ending would be amazing if she just held on. And she was so frustrated the entire time for probably the next hour until we get to the part where Scar and Simba battle. She kept asking, "When is the ending coming? When is the ending coming? You promised that it would be good, Mom. You promised that it would be good." And I told her, you just got to hold on. You just got to hold on. Things will turn around. Things will not be this way forever. Like, just hold on. And she just was so heartbroken over it. Eventually, we got to the end, and she was so excited to see Simba win. She's like screaming out loud in the theater, throwing her hands up, like super excited. And from that, it made me start thinking about in our day-to-day world, how many times do we have life throw us crazy changes, breakups, moves, job changes, relocations, death or losses. We just have life throw us these crazy changes. And we're much like my daughter in the process where we're asking God, like, just fast forward to the good part. Just fast forward to the good part. And because I was in a movie theater, I couldn't fast forward. And honestly, even if I was at home and owned the copy, I wouldn't have fast forward. Because just to see the ending, but not to go through all of the hard part that got up there, that really like developed and grew Simba into who he was, the ending wouldn't have made any sense, right? And that's the same thing for us. We go through these life changes and we get so bitter and we get so angry and we get so stuck in our negative thoughts that we can't see that there's a bigger picture, that there's a reason that we're going through the hard work. There's a reason that we're going through the transition. There's a reason that we feel so much tension and challenge with going through the change. But instead of sitting back and wondering, what is it that I'm supposed to gain or learn from this, we become angry and resentful. And sometimes we miss the lesson. Or if we get it, it's years down the road because we've spent so long sulking or waiting for God to fast forward to the good part. And so from that, I just learned that we have to challenge ourselves to sit in those emotions, to sit in that feeling, to sit in that stage and that process and allow ourselves to learn, allow ourselves to ask the questions like, what am I supposed to be gaining from this? Who is benefiting from this? What should I be learning? What should I be changing? What can happen in my future? What can come out of this situation? And we're so quick to fast forward and we have to slow it down and really learn to process through the change, right? Change doesn't have to be challenging. It's all up here. It's in our mindset. Whether we believe we have to embrace it as a challenge, or we have to believe that it somehow is going to turn into something bad. And that goes into the second lesson, which is just the song Hakuna Matata, right? It means no worries for the rest of our days. It's our problem-free philosophy, Hakuna Matata, right? And it's so simple. I love this song. It's been stuck in my head since we left. But so many times when we're going through these challenges and these changes, we are allowing our worries to overtake us. Well, I lost my job. How am I going to pay my mortgage? My husband left me. How am I going to raise children on my own? My children moved out. How does my life continue forward when my whole life revolved around them, right? And we get so worried. And they say that 90% of our worries are things that haven't even happened yet, or not even likely to happen. But we play it over and over in our head. And so we're wasting so much time and energy on worrying, on being consumed in things that may never happen. And even if you do worry, a lot of times we justify it. I know I was one of those people that I justified my worries, and I would say, well, the reason that I'm worried is because if it does happen, I want to be prepared and it won't hurt as bad. But even when those things came to fruition, it still hurt as bad. I still was underprepared. Or if they didn't come true, I wasted days, hours, weeks, months just worrying about things that never came true. And so that's why I challenge you to really create a philosophy or routine or strategies that keep your mind away from worry. Our mind and our thoughts really control our life. And if we operate from a place of overwhelm and worry, we're not going to be thinking straight. We're going to, again, miss the lesson. We're going to, again, miss anything. Miss day-to-day life because we're so worried in what can happen. Instead of focusing on the worry, challenge yourself to think of something that makes you happy. Challenge yourself to think of what benefits could come from there. Create a gratitude practice where you implement focusing on the things that you're grateful for instead of the things that are going wrong. My brother taught me this years ago, and I've lived by it. But he found a really pretty rock for me, and I want to say in the Bahamas. And that rock is my gratitude rock, and it's sitting on my kitchen shelf right above where I would typically wash dishes. And every time I look at that rock, I remind myself that I have to think of 5 things that I'm grateful for right then and there. Okay. And it's just a daily practice. In addition, my daughters and I do that at the end of the day. I always ask them, where did God show up today? And what are 5 things you're grateful for? And the reason that we do that is because a lot of times we miss God. We miss that God has shown up in our day because we're so angry about something that isn't going right that we're missing what is going right. And then the 5 things that we're grateful for, I always say, what if we wake up tomorrow with only the things that we were thankful for the day before? Then we would have nothing. We miss those small things that can have such a big impact by focusing on worry and perseverating on worry. And I cannot emphasize enough that it does not come true half of the time, and that worrying isn't protecting you. It isn't securing you. And it isn't making you feel better ultimately. And so changing your mindset and shifting your focus to the positive instead of the negative should be a daily practice. So then my third lesson from The Lion King, and I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I could probably identify 10 more lessons, but these were like the most immediate that came to my mind as I was watching the movie. So my third one is that we really have to change our mindset. So I think about when Simba ran away, because Scar told him, nobody will, want to accept you because you killed your father. And so Simba ran away for his life, believing that. And then when Nala came in and found him later in life, his best friend who he trusted so much, she told him, we need you. We need you. He allowed this belief that he accepted as fact to keep him from going after his big dream. Right? And so he stayed in this stuck place because of a thought process he had. Now, I understand that Scar took advantage of his vulnerability, but that happens every day in our life, right? There are people that are going to tell us we're not good enough. There are people that are going to say we're not who we're supposed to be. There are people that aren't going to believe in our dreams, but our job is to be bigger than that. Our job is to be bigger than that. I will never forget, I had a coworker who told me that I got my doctoral degree so that I could cover up the fact that I was no longer a Mrs. and I went to a Miss. So I went from an MRS to an MS. And she said, I got my doctorate degree to cover that up. When in reality, I was getting my doctorate degree since I was little. I just knew that was a goal of mine. I was always getting that, married or not, right? But for a long time, I got very insecure about that title because I was like, wow, maybe that's true. Maybe that's what other people believe. But it was not fact. I accepted it as fact because I allowed someone to get in my mind and alter my thoughts. And our job is to be bigger than that. Our job is to challenge that. So even though Simba believed that he had killed his father, he also had to believe that inside of him, he was a king. His dad made him and built him and prepared him to be a king, to take over and protect his land. But he didn't believe his calling because he allowed his mindset to control him. So despite what happened to you in your past, despite what poor decisions you made, or despite what you believed about yourself in the past, today is a new beginning. Today is a new opportunity to live out your dreams, to live out the things that you were called to do, to live out your purpose, to be inspired and inspire other people. And so if that means changing your circle, if you notice, Simba's circle was so positive. They were so positive, right? Sometimes that means you got to change the circle around you, the people that you have around you, to align with your dreams and your goals. And it hurts. It hurts because maybe you've grown up with people for years and you have this idea that they're supposed to be your bestie, your best friend, or your partner. But then when it comes to setting and achieving goals, they don't support you. Time to change that circle. Because as long as you stay stuck, and as long as you believe the things you believed in the past and accept them as fact today, it's as long as you won't move forward in the direction of your dreams. And so your job is to constantly be working on your mindset, strengthening your mind so that you're moving in the direction of success. You're moving in the direction of your dreams. You're going after the things that you could only imagine, but you believe that God placed in your heart that you're supposed to be living for. Okay? So just as a review, and I'm sorry for those who haven't seen the movie. I'm sure millions of people have seen the movie, so I doubt anybody's on here that hasn't. But if you haven't, I apologize. There are so many lessons if we just look. Even simple things, right? I'm supposed to be having a down and relaxing day, hence my hat and my t-shirt, right? I'm supposed to be having a relaxing family day and not even really doing too much. And so we go see a movie just for fun. But because my mind was open to learning and my mind was open to receiving, I learned so many lessons from this movie. And so just to recap, the lessons are: don't close your eyes to what the future may hold. The second lesson is Hakuna Matata, means no worries for the rest of your days. So focusing on the positive, not on the worries. And then the third lesson is changing your past beliefs, changing your mindset to fit your current beliefs and where your future is headed. Change your mindset to fit where your future is headed, not focusing on the past. And so I challenge you to embrace a positive mindset starting today. We think over 10,000 thoughts a day, and they say that 90% of those thoughts are negative. And you've done it for however many years you have been alive. It is a process, and it's taken you a long time to get into the pattern of negative thinking to the point where you don't even realize it's happening. But I challenge you to change it. So every time you have a negative thought, reframe it. Every time a negative thought comes in, say, I'm not going to accept that as fact. Reframe that thinking and watch. When you change your mind, you will literally change your life. All right. As always, continue with clarity. And until next time, see you later. Bye.